Hey everybody, this is Mike with Birdman Gaming. And this week, on our trek through what I've got built and what I'm building, we are going to look at my Tiny Bones build. Now, this series has been an interesting one to record because I'm not used to doing these type videos yet. And as you can see, my setup's kind of rough. I've got this little tripod that I've got hunkered down with my phone on it and everything. So, and I've got everything set up on a desk. So, I hope everything turns out well. And I'm still playing around with ways to do things properly, you know. But this this deck here, I've only played a couple times. I keep adding to it and tweaking it and whatnot, but for the most part, it's just a quick, easy discard deck to help with Tiny Bones' ability to just kill everybody all at once. So, we will go ahead and go through all of it. Now, I haven't done this the last couple of weeks, and I said last month that I was going to. So, before I jump into all of this, I will say, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you like this content. If you want to see other decks, if you want to hear me talk about other ideas I have for decks. If you want to see update when these decks are updated, or what I do with Volo, or whatever. I like the feedback. That way it lets me know what you guys like, what you guys don't like. And we will grow as a community, you know. In March, we'll be doing comic books. In April, we'll be doing Infinity. In May, I don't know what's going on yet. By then, we might be seeing, I think it's Commander Legends 2 Baldur's Gate, which I'm actually wanting to get some of that product to open here on the channel. June or July, we'll have New Capena. August, we'll have some Gen Con videos. September or October will be... Actually, New Capena comes out long before then. I think New Capena comes out in May. And, what's the set? In June. I mean in July. Dominaria United will be in July. And the Brothers War is late September, early October. I'm looking forward to the Brothers War and Dominaria United to a degree. I'm wanting to get some product definitely from the Brothers War, maybe Dominaria. Definitely wanting to get more Infinity. I'm wanting to get some Commander Legends, and maybe a little bit of Double Masters too when it releases. Anyway, with all of that being said, subscribe to the channel, like, comment, share my videos, let other people know, hey, it's a little small channel, but we do what we do, you know? So let's get into Tiny Bones. The deck is relatively self-explanatory. It's just force the opponents to discard everything, then use Tiny Bones' ability to lose 10 life, then lose 10 life, then lose 10 life, then lose 10 life, and win. Um, he's a 2-drop, 1/2, so he's an early game commander. Um, he also allows for you to get extra card draw, so that's always a good thing. We are going to go through our land cycle first. Again, like I said last week, I'm a firm believer in perfect fit, hard inner sleeves. These inner sleeves are they are the KMC perfect fit hards. It makes the deck a little bit thicker, but it's a lot better protection. It also helps with the curling of foils. I live on the Gulf Coast where humidity is a nightmare. And my foils and my decks do not curl because of perfect fit, hard inner sleeves. And no, we are not sponsored by KMC. I'm just telling you my personal opinion. So, let's go through our non-basic lands first. And we will start off with a pre-release version of Cabal Stronghold. Pay 3, tap, add a black for every basic swamp I control. This is a mono black deck, so of course that's what we want. We've got a homeward path because people try and steal my stuff. I want it back. Japanese Cabal coffers, original Judgment print. Now, with Modern Horizons 2 reprinting this card, the price did plummet quite a bit. I'm wanting to get a Borderless foil for this deck, but they're still relatively high. I'm happy with my Japanese Judgment, so that's where we're going to go with for right now, at least. Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. All lanes are swamps in addition to the regular types. Cabal coffers, pay 2, tap it, add a black for every swamp I control. Arcane Lighthouse, pay 1 till end of turn. Creatures opponents control lose hexproof and shroud, and cannot have hexproof or shroud. Bajuka Bog, when it enters tapped, when it enters exile graveyard. Temple of the False Gods. If I have 5 or more lands, it adds 2 colorless. Now let's do the basics. Now, my basics for this deck are going to be ones that are being swapped out and the ones that I'm wanting for it. So we're going to do the ones that are being swapped out right now. I've got 4 of this from Midnight Hunt. They're going to get swapped out. I do like the art, but the one I'm getting is actually my favorite. So, we have this foil, which is pretty, but it's being swapped out. And we have this from Amonkhet. Again, it's being swapped out. For this stack of swamps, we are getting those last 6 lands will be this specific art. I like this art style. I have, I think, 3 foils in here right now. I'm wanting to get them altered just slightly, and just a slight different way for each one, to where it's a different scene of something either coming down and going into one of the cabins or something. So, but I absolutely love this land art. And this will be the land, the basic for this deck. One of our channel members and a personal friend of mine has the last 6 I need for this deck. We just have to get it to where I can get him lands to replace the lands. I've got the lands, we just need to set up a time to do it. So, Now we will go through the deck. I will tell you if I'm taking something out eventually or what. So, Ingrook's Wake. One-sided wipe. Always a good thing. Oppression. Forces people to discard cards. Quest for the Nihil Stone. Whenever somebody discards, I put a counter on it at the beginning of the opponent's upkeep if they have no cards in hand, and it has 2 or more quest counters on it. I may have them lose 5 life. Again, as you can see, we're all about forcing people to discard. At the beginning of each 10 step, if an opponent lost 2 or more life this turn, I may put a quest counter on it whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere. If Bloodchief's Ascension has 3 or more counters on it, I may have them lose 2. If so, I gain 2. Ashling. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, choose target creature that player controls. He or she sacrifices it. Classic Hypnotic Spectre. Whenever it deals combat damage to the opponent, they discard a card at random. Thran Dynamo. Add 3 colorless to my mana pool. Inquisition of Kozilek. Target opponent reveals their hand. I choose a non-land card with mana value 3 or less. They discard it. Professor Onyx does all the things. Good card for this deck. Lightning Greaves so that Tiny Bones has Shroud. Sign in Blood, because I like this card is actually for this deck is has a lot more utility than just me drawing 2 cards and losing 2 life. The way I'm dealing so much damage through other things, I can say draw 2, lose 2 to somebody and kill them with it. Of course, we've got our Soul Talisman. This is a foil. Very pretty card. Painful Quandary. This used to be a bulk rare, but Tiny Bones has made it really, really popular. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player loses 5 life unless he or she discards a card. Again, we are wanting to be as oppressive as possible. Soul Ring. Massacre Worm. I wanted to put a Meat Hook Massacre in here. I had opened one at the Midnight Hunt pre-release when I was in Indianapolis. I do not know where it went, but I wanted Meat Hook in this deck. Ever After. Liliana's Caress. Whenever an opponent discards a card, that player loses 2 life. Demon of Wailing Agonies. Forces players to sacrifice dudes. Skittles. Now, I don't know if I'm going to keep Skittles in here or not, because Infect is one way to win, but I'm wanting more discard and oppression. So, I don't know if he's going to stay in or not. Crypt Gas. Mana Ramp. Always a good thing. Thoughtseize. More discard. Underworld Dreams. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they take a point. We've got our Grim Tutor, Borderless foil, lets us tutor up a card. Profane Tutor, lets us tutor for a card. Vampiric Tutor, lets us tutor for a card. All of my tutors in this deck pretty much are foil. Demonic Tutor. This is Japanese. This is from the Strixhaven Mystic Archives. And no, I did not purchase this. No, I did not open it. The person that opened it, I was there. It was during release weekend. And I called dibs before they opened it. I'm like, if you open one of these, I call dibs. I will trade at this amount. So by the end of the night, it was mine and it was in this deck. Blade of Selves. Again, another card. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to run in this deck or if it's going to be removed for something from Neon Dynasty or another oppressive card if I run across it and it fits what I'm wanting to do in this deck. Nyx Lotus, Borderless foil. This I just recently picked up in a trade. I like the extended foil artwork, and it's ramp for this deck, which is important. Now this card, it took me. I started building this deck in 2020 when I opened Tiny Bones. I had just bought my friend's collection and everything that I was telling you about last week. And there was one card that I needed for this deck. And I went to LGS. I went online. I asked friends. And it was a $1 uncommon that nobody seemed to have at Gen Con this past year. So almost an entire year after I had opened Tiny Bones, I was able to finally find a copy of this card. However, the only copy I was able to find was foil. I had to trade for it, and it was sitting at about $17 as opposed to $1. And that is Dark Deal. It is a wheel, so it forces everybody to discard cards, then draw cards. So with Liliana's Caress, with Megrim, with Underworld Dreams, it's extremely oppressive. Which is why I wanted it. Raider's Wake. Whenever an opponent discards a card, they lose 2 life. At the beginning of my end step, if I attacked with a creature, target opponent discards a card. With Raid. Yawgmoth's Vile Offering. Put up to 1 creature or planeswalker from a graveyard onto the battlefield under my control. Destroy up to 1 target creature or planeswalker, and then exile Yawgmoth's Vile Offering. What more do you want, you know? Necroskitter. Wither. Whenever a creature an opponent controls with a neg1 counter on it dies, I may return that card to the battlefield under my control. That's probably going to come out. Rings of Bright Earth, because activated abilities are very good in this deck, and having rings just makes it better. Sidisi, Undead Vizier, the only tutor in this deck that's not foil. When it enters, sack a dude, I may search my library for a card, put it in my hand, then shuffle. This is Tendrils of Corruption. This is a Japanese foil from the Mystic Archives. And it says, whenever I play this, opponents lose 2 life. And then it has Storm. So I can just storm out with it and win. I think it says each opponent, not just target opponent. So, whenever I'm playing this deck, I actually look it up. Okay, next stack. This is our Howling Mine from the Secret Lair. I did have Howling Mine in this deck already, so I just upgraded to the Secret Lair foil. I love Mark Poole's art style, so. Then we have a etched foil, Japanese Mystic Archives, Duress. Waste not, because I'm forcing people to discard. Etched foil, Japanese, Dark Ritual. Foil from Commander Legends, and I picked this up when it was super cheap in trade. Scroll Rack. They're finally starting to climb back up, and I absolutely love this card anyway, so. Expedition Map, because why not? Find my Cabal coffers quicker. This card may or may not make the cut. Chromatic Orrery. I mean, it's card draw. That's about it. The tap to add 5 mana is okay, but the card draw helps a little bit. Grave Pact. Whenever one of my dudes die, my opponents have to sacrifice dudes. Court of Ambition. Foil. When it enters, I become Monarch at the beginning of my upkeep. If each player loses 3 life unless they discard a card. If I'm the Monarch, instead it's 6 life unless they discard 2 cards. So, another piece of the oppressiveness. Shimmy Inspector. Again, it's discard, so it's oppressive. Larceny. Whenever a creature I control deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card from his or her hand. Oppressive. Bolas's Citadel, because why not? It actually gets me up to the storm count for Tendrils. Tergrid. Now there's talk about this card being banned, and if so, I will just replace it. I don't play it as the commander because it draws hate as soon as somebody sees it. So, and our last little stack here, Megrim, because I want to be oppressive. Solemn Simulacrum, because card draw and getting more swamps in play. This will probably get cut. It's a pack foil, Bloodline Keeper. Here recently, these have spiked because Crimson Vow has a lot more vampires. So I might replace it with something and trade it off for a bigger piece of something I want. This guy, because he eats dudes and lets me gain life. Temporal Extortion, because either somebody pays half their life or I take an extra turn. Gilded Lotus. I'm in monocolor. Why wouldn't I want to run a Lotus? Hero's Downfall from the Secret Lair. And this is from the D&D Secret Lair. Destroy target creature Planeswalker. Very good card. I opened this in a collector's pack. It's an extended non-foil Author of Shadows. It exiles the yard. And it lets me cast something for as long as it remains exiled. And I may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. Good card. Nirkana Revenant. Because mana ramp. Goldraz Spectre. Because whenever it hits, the opponent discards a card. Cage Sun because it pumps my dudes and mana ramps. Oblivion Stone because it destroys. Whip of Erebos because it brings stuff back from my yard to attack with it again, and creatures I control have lifelink. Grindstone because why not? You're playing a monocolored deck, I'm just going to grind you out. Faded Return puts dudes from my yard, or from a yard onto the battlefield under my control, and the creature gains indestructible. If it's my turn, I also get to scry. Feed the Swarm. This is a foil Feed the Swarm from Commander Legends. No, Zendikar Rising, sorry. Destroy target creature or an enchantment an opponent controls. I lose life equal to its converted mana cost. And finally, Dreamstalker. Another card I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to keep in the deck or not. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, they discard that many cards. It does have Eternalize, so it comes back as a 4/4. So I don't know if I'm going to play it or not. But that's Tiny Bones. Let me know what you guys think of that. And as I've been saying, with everything going on in the world, I hope everybody's taking care of themselves and being kind to one another. The world needs more kindness. More people doing for others. More people looking out for each other. The entire world has become so divisive, whether you're from China or Russia or here in the States. It's just, I'm not a religious person. I've never claimed to be a religious person, but I did study religion. I grew up in the church, so the core beliefs that are there. And the main core belief is you do good for other people and it comes back to you. You take care of people. You be good to everybody. Treat other people as you would have them treat you. And that's, like I said, I'm not a religious person. You will never find me post anything religious or anything, because, quite frankly, organized religion is stupid. But belief structures of being good to each other, that extends beyond just religion, you know. So with all of that being said, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And I'll see you next week with Omnath, Locus of Creation.